guys, it's Ellie. So today I'm going to be talking about how I found out that I was visually impaired. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright guys, so I found out that I was visually impaired in the 3rd grade. Even though I was born with this condition, I just grew up thinking I was a normal kid. No big deal. I have the conditions called optic nerve hyperplasia, which is the underdevelopment of the optic nerve, and because of that, I have a condition as well called a nystagmus, meaning that my eyes shake uncontrollably, and I always get those people, "Are your eyes okay?" They're shaking, which is very sweet, but I'm alright, guys. It's something that I've had my entire life, and it's really weird. Sometimes I can feel it, sometimes I can't, sometimes I can completely stop it if I blur my vision, but then I can't see. I also have astigmatism, which is a pretty common condition where your eyes aren't fully spherical. Alright, so the way that I found out that I was visually impaired is I was in the 3rd grade and I was, doing my 3rd grader thing, coloring, drawing, talking to my friends, being Miss Social here, and then our teacher assigns us an assignment where I think we have to read to our partner, and I'm like, okay, no big deal, blah, 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 I like Friends. So my partner reads to me first, and then I go to read, and I can't see the book at all. Really. So this is supposed to be like, a little children's book where it generally has like the larger font too. And it was really concerning for me. So I go up to the teacher and I say, "Hey, I can't see this. I can't read it." And she says, "Oh my goodness." So she immediately calls the office and calls my parents and informs them that I'm having trouble seeing the assignment. And so I have an appointment with my eye doctor, and this is something my parents have always been worried about, especially since my laser eyes, my nystagmus, has always been a thing, and that we've been told from the beginning, before I was even born, to get my eyes checked out, and which they have, and seems pretty good, and in 3rd grade, it just started to get worse for some reason. So, no big deal. I am signed up for an IEP meeting and to get accommodations, which is really big, especially for in 3rd grade where you're starting to get stuff that you need and that you're learning, and it's a crucial part of your development. So I go ahead and go to the meeting. Everything's set. Yes, I need an IEP. Yes, I am visually impaired. And then I get my large print books, the old school ones that fold out like this, that are huge, and it goes this way for reading. It's very, very, very not good. It is one of the funniest styles of enlargement that I could think of, because it's... How do you read a book that way? It's just quite silly. So then I start to get the large e-readers that everyone at some point gets, and their mothers, and I get an iPad, which totally useful for schoolwork and was great for typing things, and I still have an iPad to this day, as well as a laptop now. So we go on to 4th grade, and my 4th grade teacher really wasn't the best with accommodations, and the only reason why my parents didn't happen to sue the school was because the principal was super nice and was like, "Hey, we're trying to get through to the teacher, and we're trying to make the best we possibly can, yada yada yada. We're trying to make sure that she's safe and she has good grades, so as long as she maintains those good grades, then everything will be okay." Well, I did maintain my good grades. I wasn't sat where I needed to be. I really didn't get the accommodations I needed at that time. And then we hop into 5th grade, did awesome, had an awesome teacher. Middle school was a hard time, definitely for me, because everyone starts to become mean. And, you start to go through puberty, and you start to learn, oh yeah, I can be mean to people. And in that time, it's really crucial that you start to learn how to block out all of the negativity And, I just went along and said, I'm Ellie, I'm going to do what I want, and if I need to use accommodations, I'm going to try to use them. Yes, there were times that I didn't want to use accommodations because I felt shame that I had to use it. Everyone goes through this, and I'm glad it was at least in middle school and not really in high school. But then again, we get to high school when I finally start to get cane use, something that I've been needing since I was little. And it's really weird that in high school I finally get orientation and mobility, because that's something that I've always needed, because I've always been the clumsy kid that just needs a little help with coordination here and there. And so, freshman year, we have a big ol' IEP meeting about, she needs cane use, she needs a laptop, she needs what is available to her, she needs this and that. So I start cane use, and then my O&M instructor disappears out of thin air. So yes, she disappears, they disappear, and I am stuck for the rest of freshman year and most of sophomore year. I pretty much went sophomore year without accommodations, and it was really, really hard for me. Until I reached out to the county and I was like, hey, I'm supposed to be getting accommodations and cane use and I'm not getting this. And it's been a big struggle getting what I need, and I just want to let everyone out there know that you need to fight for what you want sometimes, and it is your right to get it. So we just need to remember that, because if I didn't push for what I needed, I wouldn't have orientation mobility today. And I have such an amazing O&M teacher who is really understanding and lets me ask my weird questions about, hey, if I were let's say I had worse vision than I do now, and let's say I actually was legally blind, what if what tactics would I use for that? And she lets me simulate what it's like to be legally blind, to where we're thinking of maybe doing O&M with a blindfold. And I know that might sound a bit weird, but at Enchanted Hills Camp, we actually do a day event for campers. They can choose any day they want, and if they want to go under a blindfold that whole day, they can see what it's like to navigate the world blind. And I get it, we're all visually impaired or blind or legally blind at this camp, but it's really, really important for us to fill in those shoes of those who have less vision than us. And, it's really important to do that. And I encourage those who do have sight to try this out, because it's really, really cool. It's such a humbling experience to try to fill up a glass of water, and you have to learn certain techniques, like holding your finger in a glass. That's a really common technique. And, that goes back to fighting for what you need. And it's just really important. So here I am, junior year of high school. I started off the year and I had a goal after camp. I was going to be me. I was going to use my cane. I was going to advocate for myself that whatever happens, I'm using my cane. I'm visually impaired. I'm going to get size 24 font. I'm going to get my accommodations. And let me tell you, the first 2 months, 3 months of school are terrible and terrifying. You might not hear that from everyone, but for me, it was. Because I was called the fake blind girl, or the blind girl. And yes, I know that shouldn't get to you, but it was said so much that over time it got to me. And my friends were even getting to the point that they were disgusted from kids' comments in the hall that they would hear, and I wasn't even there. There were very rude comments said about me and my vision, and I tried going to the school board about maybe having an assembly about disabilities, because everyone has this general idea that people who have a disability, you can see a disability, but you can't see every disability. You can't see deafness, you can't see blindness unless I have a cane out and have the stereotypical glasses or a guide dog, which I've applied for a guide dog and and I'm so far going through the courses of the consent forms, but I'm really excited to announce that. Guide dog! And it's really important that we stick up for ourselves. And over time, the comments started to fade, but during that time, it was terrible. It was really terrible. I'm not gonna lie to anyone here. I was crying for forever, and I'm a pretty strong person, but high schoolers are mean. They really are. And it was people who didn't know me, and I don't generally care what people think about me, but it was over something I couldn't control. And that's too far. So, we need to fight for ourselves. And for senior year, I'm hoping that I have proven to the guide dog company that I have applied to that I am worthy of a guide dog, and that I get a guide dog. That's my goal for senior year, if I get to go back to school at all. But I want a guide dog through senior year to kind of show everyone, oh yeah, disabilities are a thing. Hoping I can get an assembly where we can have a disabilities awareness, because yes, you can see a wheelchair, but you can't necessarily see visual impairment, because I know many people who don't use their cane out of shame because they don't want to be bullied for it, which that is unacceptable. If I need to use something to benefit myself, I should be able to use it. It is my right. And we are protected under the ADA, but just high schoolers don't know that, and they're too mean. So with a guide dog for senior year, I'm hoping that it will help me adjust and work on my own transportation by myself and build that confidence, because yes, a cane gets you where you need to go, but it doesn't provide that emotional support and that partnership that I need, or pretty much want and desire at this point. I've seen so many great people who have guide dogs who have a fantastic partnership with them, and you can really tell that the guide dog understands their owner and they kind of pick up on their habits. I know people who have a guide dog who pick up on their blood sugar levels, and they are not trained for that. They just kind of pick up on it, and they're like, hey, they'll put their head on their lap, and it's so cool how partnerships can grow into that and really build each other up and support it. And I just want that so much. And a guide dog would really help me go into adulthood and beyond that. Because one day I want to work at Enchanted Hills and be a part of it. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed my video about how and when I learned that I was visually impaired, and my rant about fighting for your accommodations and advocating for yourself, because it's so important that you do, because if you don't fight for yourself, no one else will. So with that, I will see you guys later. I hope you have a lovely day, and I will see you all later. Bye!